Yo, there's something beautiful about Bearcats basketball. High flying.
Kenyon with a jam.
Shot denying.
Miles rejected.
There's just an energy that comes with the Cats. A rich history built on toughness.
And Mick Cronin looks like he wants a technical.
A bring-your-own-lunch pail mentality. For a long time, UC was the hunted.
Now I felt that we couldn't lose.
I think it's time the Bearcats do a little hunting of their own.
Once y'all done with them, send them to me, man. You know what I mean? We can put them on the court. Keep that Bearcat thing going.
I am fired up.
Takes it all the way. Oh! It's going to be Little.
I wonder how Steve Logan would be over in Afghanistan or somewhere. I bet he'd be pretty poised. He just does not get rattled.
Van Exel, he'll cut it loose. Watch out. Stevenson cuts it back. Oh! Kilpatrick outruns everybody. Johnson, the exclamation point.
We've been dealt the king of heartbreak over and over again.
Rozier. Smith and
Everything they worked for was undone on one play.
But I see the light. The Cats are back.
Lukosius, open three, got it! Oh, baby!
Welcome to the only live Bearcats postgame show on YouTube. This is Chatterbox Bearcats.
All right, we're live. Thanks for joining Chatterbox Bearcats. Bearcats lose on the road at Kansas State, 70-67. This is a game that Lilly and I on the midweek show said earlier. Two ways to look at this spot for UC. One way, this was a good spot for the Bearcats as Kansas State had lost 3 in a row. They were spiraling. They had a player quit. Doug McDaniel and Jerome Tang weren't getting along, or this was a spot where Kansas State had some rest. They have 2 very talented players. If they want to make a March resume, the time is now. And that's exactly what they just did. They got a signature win at home against 16th ranked Cincinnati. Their 2 superstars looked exactly like that. 2 superstars, Coleman Hawkins, 20 points, 10 rebounds. Doug McDaniel, 17 points. Lilly, why do we do this?
This is my first instant reaction. Not a good start.
No.
The turnovers is the main thing for me tonight. The biggest strength of this team is offensive rebounds. And it was last year too. And you cannot take advantage of that when you turn the ball over. Missing a shot, and I know it sounds crazy saying this, but missing a shot is a chance to create another shot. Like same with Mick teams. It's just one of those ways you create extra possessions and get an advantage in games like this. And we did not, we won the offensive rebound battle 10-7. And if 16 turnovers is 10 turnovers, you might have 12 offensive rebounds. You might have, you might hit 2 more threes. It doesn't sound like much, but also you're not even counting in the buckets that Kansas State got in transition there. Just too many easy buckets. And we got a couple too, but this is one that's going to sting for a while, I think. Whether we have a disappointing season and get in the tournament as 9 seed, 10 seed, or if we're a 3 seed and it's why did we lose that game? This is just – it was the perfect spot to get them, and that early start gave them confidence, got the crowd going. And I will say real quick, I thought we got back into it. Guys hit big shots. it felt like for a little there, I was like, wow, we're going to pull this off. Like we're hitting big time shots, getting back into it. But then the turnovers came back. Kansas State hit big shots too. So not good. And the Arizona game just got way bigger.
Yeah, the Arizona game got huge. So did the Baylor game. So did the Kansas game. I started off the show talking about Kansas State's superstars, and I wanted to highlight, and I don't want to rag on any players on this team, but like our superstar, Seamus Lukosius, did not show up tonight. And I kind of wanted to focus on that. Like their superstars showed up, ours didn't, but Dan Skillings showed up to play. And I'm looking at the box score right now. Dan Skillings had 18, Jizzle James had 11, Dylan Mitchell had 15. If you get 3 out of those 4 players in the starting lineup play that way, you usually win. With that being said, Seamus, our main offensive threat from deep, 4 points. Clearly that didn't get the job done. But you look at the rest of the players who got minutes. Arrington Page, 1 point, and also maybe one of the worst stretches I've ever seen. Gave up or just didn't even contest a layup on Doug McDaniel, turned it over on offense, then gave up an offensive rebound on defense and fouled. Awful stretch from him. I don't even know if he saw the floor after that. 0 points from Betsy. He had 1 wide open 3-point shot that he bricked off the backboard. DayDay Thomas played well. It's hard with him. He's a roller coaster. And then Connor Hickman, an awful 3-point look. Did that even touch rim? So I don't even want to say it's the superstar Seamus who didn't show up and that's why we lost. We got to get something out of our role players. They're just out there getting cardio. Am I wrong for that?
Yeah, they got. I mean, throw in Betsy there. You've got Paige, Betsy, Hickman, 1 point, and then Seamus. Seamus just has these games where he disappears, and this is one of them. That last 3 he got was a really good look, and the broadcast view, we knew it wasn't going in. You could tell he missed to the left. Great look. I thought DayDay was awesome, and he had a big mistake. Well,
it's funny. You say DayDay was awesome. We got people in the comments saying DayDay Thomas did not play well. Are you serious? It's like, what?
No. I thought he was.
Know. He's a roller coaster. So like you got to take the bad with the good with DayDay Thomas.
I thought he was one of our best players.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he got to the rim at will sometimes. Yeah, he doesn't finish every single one. He's 6 foot tall, and Coleman Hawkins got $2 million in NIL. Like,
and that last one, that up and under, the fact that he even got to that up and under was insane. And yeah, he sees Aziz under the rim, and a lot of people think like, how do you miss the lip? A lot of times these guards, when they see the big in position for an offensive rebound, they're told to create the shot. And we're an offensive rebounding team. We try to do that. And obviously you want to make it, but Aziz put it back and we scored. He was not the problem. DayDay is not the problem tonight. If you think he was one of the worst, if you're even bringing him up in a negative way, I'm not sure what game you watched. Like, we could talk about Dylan Mitchell. He had 15 and 11, missed a couple layups. And Skillings had a couple mistakes too. I don't think like anyone really stood out as in a perfect game, like the one person that played great. But I do think, DayDay, Dylan, Aziz, Jizzle had a decent game. Like, we had a lot of guys with decent games, but the turnovers, every single one of those players had a turnover or two that just got Kansas State a bucket. That if we're in the half-court defense, they're not getting that bucket. But we saw this last year with the turnover stuff. So that's my concern right now, is this turnover thing.
Yeah, and it was to start the game too. 3 awful turnovers. Dan didn't even try on the first pass of the game for him. Lobbed it, got it stolen. Jizzle dribbles it off his own foot, and then Seamus, he turned it over. I can't even remember how it happened, but that's how we started the game. Your 3 supposed best players on offense turning the ball over, dug ourselves a hole to start the game, and we're climbing our entire way back the whole time. Everybody keeps commenting about the refs.
I'll say something.
The refs were awful down the stretch. I don't want to oh, look, here's the podcast. These guys just blame the refs. I don't want to be that, but the last 5 minutes was abysmal. What were you going to say?
Oh, I like to talk refs. A lot of people are just like, well, why are you complaining? They're part of the game. It's something we can talk about, and you can talk about it without it blaming the game on the ref. Like that goaltend at the end was an obvious goaltend. It was an obvious block. Anybody who takes time saw the replay, you can tell it's a block. The refs messed it up, and not saying we would have won the game, but those last 45 seconds are completely different if they don't have those 2 points. We won't know what would have happened. We could have just choked it away, but maybe we hit a 3 the net. You don't know. So that was a big mistake by the refs. A clear error. Everyone knows it was a bad call. I'm not blaming the game on them, but they had 5 fouls the entire game till that last minute, and I think Kansas State had about 5, or they called about 5 touch fouls on us in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have that happen to us at home every once in a while.
Yeah,
just to point out that, but
there was ticky-tacky for us. And then also the one I want to point to, that was not a goaltend. But the one Aziz gets the rebound, gets tripped from behind. They're like, he fell down with it. That's a travel. Yeah, that's a travel. He got fouled. And then he's like, do you think that's a foul? He's like, oh, I don't know. They don't call that. Meanwhile, UC has 6 fouls in the second half. It's like they've been calling it.
Yeah, and that's one where I'm a little more lenient with the ref because it was a foul, but also I think Aziz could have stayed up. Aziz he reminds me of I watch a lot of soccer. Aziz would be a great soccer player. He whenever he can do the old he's very good at messing with the other team. I'm surprised he doesn't get teed up more. He gets away with a lot of shit, and sometimes he goes down a little easy thinking he'll get the call because there was contact, but you don't always get it. I think in that situation, try to stay up, but it was a foul. He wouldn't have considered falling if his foot wasn't tripped like that.
Yeah. I want to move on from the refs because we could do this all night. Nick Kirby commented that I shouldn't have called Liberty a bad team that Kansas State lost to. I want to clarify what I said on the midweek show saying Kansas State has lost to bad teams. They really haven't lost to bad teams. What I was going for, they lost by 19 to Wichita State. That's an awful loss. With that being said, most of their losses are not awful, but they also had not until tonight beaten anybody. We were the first good win that Kansas State has really had. Anybody with a pulse, Kansas State lost to.
It's the Villanova thing again.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say it ties into Villanova, and it's almost the same exact game because Villanova has a star with Eric Dixon, and he got us 30. He had 31 points against us. Kansas State, like it or not, how good or bad this team might be, they have 2 stars. Doug McDaniel was a sought-after transfer portal product, and Coleman Hawkins. I don't believe any of the NIL that gets reported, but $2 million for that guy, allegedly. So Kansas State has 2 stars. Villanova has 1 star. Neither have beaten a good team, and we just lost on the road.
There's just a lot. People are going to melt down. You should be upset. We're looking for this team to. We talked about this, the Xavier game proved something. Dayton game proved something. This was another one of those, prove you can do it on the road. And then the Arizona game is going to be a prove you can beat a actually good team at home. Because we know Xavier's just dealing with some stuff. They're very flawed. It was a rivalry game. We won. It's great. But Arizona's better than Xavier. So that is a new thing we're trying to do to prove to ourselves and our fan base that we're legit. This sets us back a little because it wins Saturday and it's still there, But the stuff these close games that we lost last year and this year, there's just so much shit with the turnovers. And then there's the weird stuff that feels like it only happens to us. Kansas State, 16 for 20 from the line. They shoot 66% as a team. They're dog shit at free throws. And they make 16 of 20. And that's going to happen throughout the year. Just a shame it happened right now. We have this, our free throw percentage, we're not playing defense with free throws, right? But our free throw percentage defense this year is 75%, 314th in the country. Teams are making the free throws against us every game. And same thing happened last year. And tonight was just the worst night for that to happen with a shitty team, a shitty free throw shooting team that actually got more free throws than they're used to getting.
I tiptoe the line of ragging on a college athlete because they're children, right? But also at the same time, these guys are getting paid. So I guess, our fearless leader, Charlie Walter, commented on the chat, Hickman being a disaster crushes us. Just not good. So it's out there. People are probably talking about it. Hickman has been a complete dud, -1 game. That kills us. That really kills. You're supposed to come in and provide a spark, some shooting. I mean, CJ Frederick doesn't even see the floor. He's the other shooter. I got a stray called out on me last week from Charlie. I was listening to the podcast. He's like, yeah, Niehaus was like, oh, we got all these shooters. Oh, hey, Dad, we got all these shooters. And I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we were playing Arkansas Pine Bluff. It looked like we could shoot the ball. Some of these guys can't get open looks. Betsy's not getting a look out there against decent competition. Hickman can't even look at the rim against decent competition. Seamus took 6 shots. So no, we don't have shooters. You're right, Charlie. Call me out. Does this temper the expectations for you like it does me? Or am I just overreacting? Because you know what you said, this is your first reaction show. This is my first reaction loss. So I might be on tilt right now too.
I'm wired a little different. You're not alone though. I'm in some group chats right now and it's not looking good, but we're fine. I think we're fine. It just sucks because I want this team to be great. I think they can be. And games like this is where you show you can be. And, we lost on all the fine margins tonight. Turnovers, free throws. Just the stuff we saw last year. So I get why people are freaking out. I'm not happy. And I kind of feel like we have to, the rest of the way, like these away games versus teams like this, I kind of think this just has to be the one. Last year we lost to Oklahoma State at home. We cannot have that happen this year. Like those home games, you have to win those games. It's imperative. That's the main thing for me this year is just Fifth Third Arena, win those games. Like you're probably gonna lose a Kansas or like an Arizona or something like that. 1 or 2 of those games, but for the next step for this team, those are the ones that matter to me. This one on paper, like it sounds stupid, but it's similar to the Villanova on paper. It feels like shit because of the timing. We're the first game in the Big 12. We could have been like, we're in first place, heading home to Arizona, and instead we're in last place. And we have Arizona, Baylor, Kansas coming up.
Well, I like what T-Bone had to say, and I think that's a good way to look at it in the chat. He said, we may look back in March and say this hurt or helped our season. That's a positive way to look at it. I mean, you get a little battle tested on the road to start Big 12 play, but I don't know. Do you rally around? What was that?
I'd rather play like shit and steal it at the end than you learn the lesson.
I don't know. I'm trying to find any positive outlook. And Charlie said, this is not my first loss. I was on the Pittsburgh football game. This is my first basketball loss, which.
Oh, this is actually my second first reaction. My first was a Kansas State football game. So I'm 0 for 2 against Kansas State.
Yeah, we need to stop. It was both me and you too. So we need to stop doing the Kansas State games. March
5th. Mark it off your schedule. That's
we're
Houdini and Chuck, March 5th.
Are you worried about the role players, Lily, like I am?
No, but I think I'm in the minority. Like, I saw some stuff people were saying about Hickman today. I think he'll figure it out and be a good role player. But I'm concerned because I thought he could be a really good role player. I'm kind of ruling that out. But, you know, the injury thing and getting back up to speed, blah, blah, blah. Like, role players, when they have bad games, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. And I will say my biggest concern with this team before the season is still the biggest concern. And the only concern I really had was the backup five. And I think we probably should have played Page more in the out of conference when he had foul trouble. I don't see why you're protecting him. Just keep him out there. Like, if something happens, put in Mitchell, you know, as the guy that spots Aziz. He had mono last year and didn't play much. He got some minutes, but it kind of felt more like a red shirt. And he still looks like a freshman. I think he has a ton of upside, but that doesn't matter. We need him this year. I think the perfect situation would have been holding on to Vic and Page and trying to manage that. It would have been hard, and I think that's why Vic left. But if Aziz goes down, we're fucked. And I think I said that preseason, and I'm pretty confident in saying that now. If he goes down, we're fucked. How else can you word it? Are we allowed to cuss on the instant reaction?
Yeah. Well, that cracked me. I needed
too late for that.
I needed that. We were asked a question in our mailbag segment on the midweek show, what our expectations for the first 4 games were. I gave a cop-out answer. I said, it depends on if we're real or not, because I don't know at this point. We looked really good against Dayton, even on a bad shooting night, because I think we were just bigger than them, like physically. And then obviously take down Xavier in a game where, you've lost 5 years in a row. With that being said, I don't think those are 2 great teams, so I didn't know if we were good or not. I gave a cop-out answer. I said, if we're real, the floor is 2-2, and the expectation should be 4-0. I can't believe I just repeated myself there because I sound like an idiot, first off. But also, I bring this up because I tweeted today a poll. I said, here's the first 4 games. What's the record? 3-1 got 48% of the votes. 4-0 got 11% of the votes. 2-2 got 28% of the votes. If you want to go 3-1, you're going to have to win on the road at Baylor, take care of business at home against Arizona, and then beat a top 10 Kansas team. With this loss tonight, I don't see that happening. I don't even know if it's overreacting. I don't see that happening.
I think we can win all 3.
Okay. What? Tell me why.
It's funny. I'm more nervous about the home games than the Baylor game. I just think we match up great against Baylor. They're small. They're like Dayton small.
That can you sell me on 3-0 here? You just have belief in this year. Team. Here's the thing. Like, we go into this year, I'm clipped in the hype video for the season opener by UC saying, this is the year, this is the team. So, I've had high expectations. I just, losing at Villanova, losing at Kansas State, it just sucks. This sucks. And I just do not think we're this bad. But I can only believe what I see on the court. Mm-hmm. And we have made every other team's superstar look like a superstar. Even Fremantle in the first half had 16 points. And then we shut his ass down. Look at the 3. I mean, are those the 3 best players we've played against this year? Or the 4, excuse me. The 2 tonight, Eric Dixon and Zach Fremantle, and they've all gone off.
Honestly, you could throw in Sam Vincent in the first half in KU. He couldn't fucking we were letting him get to his spots. We adjusted, but your point stands, even with the away game at NKU.
So, is Jeremy Roach due for a huge game at Baylor against us?
Should we be hitting these props?
Well, driving to Kentucky, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking up my box score. My iPad's terrible. It closes out on me. I was trying to look up just how much, how many points any other Kansas State player had. Gasson had a good game too, but like defensively, we started off really well against Kansas State other than their two superstars. What do you got for me?
I got something to say about Gasson. And down the stretch there, when we were trying to get back into it, right before the goaltend, I think, Aziz just did some dumb – I don't know what he was doing. And Kansas State got a layup. And then the next possession, we went small. So we saw – I think it was 56-54, and we went small to give Aziz a rest. And Mitchell was in. And Mitchell gave Gasson his left to drive, and he got an easy layup. It made no sense. So it was back-to-back possessions where they got two easy buckets from probably our two best defenders. No, I'm going to say DayDay is a better defender than Aziz. Two of our best defenders made big errors down the stretch defensively while we were trying to climb back in the game. And I'm pretty sure Gasson's a lefty. I don't know what Dylan was doing. He gave him his left. There was no reason to do it, and the guy can't shoot. But John White, 17, I am an optimist. I don't think I'm a homer, though. I just look at sports a little weird. And I still get pissed. I scream. I get yell at the TV, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing stuff like this is a road loss, and it's not like a 300 team, this is we should have won. Kansas State was spiraling and we played like shit. Those things bother me, but the loss itself, on paper, it just doesn't affect me as much as most fans, because I like when we lost to Villanova, I was a little calm as well. Just on paper, when we get to March, they're not going to give a shit about this loss unless it's a habit. And what I'm concerned about is this is now twice. So are we building a habit, or will we get better?
Well, you can see it all over my face that this stuff eats me up. And I was texting my buddies just to start the game. I'm like, man, watching the Cincinnati Bearcats is the worst 2 hours of my day. Why do I care so much? And I think I'm just not ready personally for Big 12 play and getting out of the American, because we're going to lose a lot of games, right? Tournament teams lose a lot of games. Regardless, top 15 teams don't lose a lot of games. But back to I only say that because you say you don't overreact. I do.
Real quick though, on that point, you just Arizona was a 2 seed last year, and they lost to Stanford away. And Stanford is 105 in KenPom last year. Okay. And they lost to Oregon State away. Oregon State's 155 in KenPom last year. Kansas State is well ahead of both of those teams, and Arizona was a 2 seed. So, this is what I'm saying when I don't think I'm a homer. I'm just it's
basketball. This isn't football where the bigger, stronger, faster team in football wins 9 times out of 10. Basketball, it is anybody's game any given night.
They also lost to 85 USC away last year. So they had 3 losses. Yeah. KenPom just updated, by the way. Kansas State's 88. So Arizona had 3 of these losses or worse last year and was a 2 seed. So I'm still going to be high on this team. I think Dan Skillings is about to just blow up, personally. Today is the start of it. I think that's something we can talk about here in a little. But we are now down to 25 in KenPom. Didn't move much. Our free throw defense got a little worse. Teams now shoot 76% against us. 328th in the country.
I want to get back to specifics about the game. Maybe the worst, and I have bad memory when it comes to specifics in games years back. So don't quote me on this. This is just how I feel right now. We had the worst sequence of the Wes Miller era and I bring this up because we're talking about everybody's texting we suck in the half court, get out and run. We were bad getting out and running. DayDay, 2-on-1, tries to slam it. I think it was over Coleman Hawkins. It might not have been. Tries to slam it over Coleman Hawkins. Ball goes flying, misses a dunk. He might have the most missed dunks in a Bearcat uniform of all time. Kansas State goes down, bangs a three. We're down 6. We come down the floor. Skillings airballs a 3. They get the ball. They go down. They bang a 3. I think we're down 9 at that point. What a terrible sequence when you're down 3 points at a chance to break it to 1. And instead of 1, it's 9. That killed us.
I was going to bring this up because I keep seeing the half court offense's dog shit. And this is like one of our highest percentages in weeks.
Yeah.
It was recklessness and carelessness with the ball. That's all it was. Like the transition, like you just said, we got sped up. Like think of that run against Dayton at the end there where we were just doing dumb shit. It was like that. And I know, Chuck, if you're still here, you cover the Warriors. They do dumb shit all the time. Like you have to be more careful with the ball in transition. Like those transition possessions are just beautiful, God-given. You need to take care with them. These are like the easiest buckets you can get, and we're just doing dumb shit. So
yeah, we were not great in transition. Like I got to highlight this text I got. I don't want to like air out like group chat text during the game because everybody goes crazy. But like I mentioned the DayDay 2-on-1 with the most athletic guy we've had in 25 years. Screw it. I'm going up against Coleman Hawkins. Then Dylan Mitchell 3-on-1. Let's slow this down, hit a gather step, draw a foul. I'm an awesome free throw shooter. Like what? It's just back-to-back transition plays that just weren't great. It was just ugly, Lily. Like you said, they didn't take care of the ball. To start off the game, what were we down? I think we were down. I mean, we're definitely down 9-2.
13-4.
13-4. 3 awful turnovers to start it off. It was just gross basketball. Exactly what we saw from Villanova. This might as well have been the same exact game.
It really like there's so many comparisons.
And then Seamus
made
disappeared.
Us look uncomfortable. But now we know that we can lose these games with Dan. I was living in a dream world with my rose-colored glasses that Dan would make it so we wouldn't lose any of these games this year, but there's the first, and it means there could be a second. You know, we play at Utah and BYU in the same week. They're both better than Kansas State. So, like, now I'm like, well, let's split that. But if we won tonight, I'd be like, we can win those games. It's a roller coaster. I just hope it's not anywhere near last season because that was just infuriating. And we got a question from Chris here on who we think will be guarding Caleb Love on Saturday. And that's a good question because Caleb is bigger than DayDay by a lot.
I was going to say, how tall is he? He's got to be pretty tall, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 30 years old. So
just like Coleman Hawkins, right? Can you put DayDay on him? Because like that's the easy answer if he wasn't 6'4".
I think you can, but he does have like I think you can start with DayDay on Caleb. But Caleb's one of those guys that he's going to get his shot off. Even if the 6'7" guy's on him, he's getting that off.
Yeah.
Start DayDay on him, and then if he gets hot, put Mitchell or Skillings on him. I would say Skillings.
I mean, I'm at the point where any other opponent's superstar, I just expect to have 20 plus on us. And you mentioned Utah. If Gabe Mattson has 20 plus points on us, I'm going to have a conniption.
What if we win?
That'd be fine. I don't know, Lily. Maybe I just am not cut out for the reaction shows because I'm down right now. And I'm sure a lot of Bearcat Nation is as well. Very high expectations for this team. I don't think this necessarily alters that. We're still a tournament team at this point. But here's the thing. The issue is not that there's a lack of resume builders and resume games. We got to win them. Dayton was our only resume builder at this point. We've had 3 I guess if you count Xavier, I don't know. Is that going to be that good of a? Is the committee even going to look at that? Really, I don't know. But we're 1 for 3. We're We're batting 33% on resume games. And even Villanova wasn't a resume game, but it was the first road game, true road game of the year against a team with a pulse.
Caleb Love's cooking right now, by the way.
How much? What does he have?
He's got 27.
Oh my God.
And this is his third straight game with over 3 threes after being pretty bad in the out of conference. So yeah, be scared. But Caleb Love is like, we'll know by halftime. He's one of those guys. You just know if he's on or not. And we need him to be off because, the Trey Townsend could get hot too. You never know. I like Arizona State's big. I know Houdini always talks about how many 7-footers they have. But when you look at 1 through 4, they're not big. It's just the 7-footers. So I kind of like that matchup too. I don't know. It's hard to think about this shit right now after losing a game like that.
I don't get how they lose these games, because you look at some of the plays that were made to start after. Okay, I'm reading my notes. Under 16, first half. DayDay blows by his defender, gets an easy layup. Seamus blows by his defender, gets an easy layup. Jizzle blows by his defender, gets an easy layup. Outside of DayDay, Seamus, I keep saying Seamus. Whoever DM'd us is going to kill me that I say Seamus. Seamus, Jizzle, and Dan had a great game. Or Seamus, Jizzle are 2 stars. And then also Dan has a great game. How do you wind up with a loss here? Like, go to the well. Just, you have the ability to just blow by your guys. I don't know. Like, it's like frustrating. It's like in football, having a decent offense and just going 3 and out, it kills you, because you see some of the talent on this team and some of the plays they make, and they just don't stack them. They don't stack these plays. They did in that sequence. Those were 3 back-to-back-to-back layups that seemed easy for us. And then nothing's easy for us.
I'm going through Kansas State's free throws made this year, and it's that's like far and away the most they've made versus a good team.
Charlie, this was tough. And again, like, there's a lot of people watching the stream right now that weren't here to start, I'm sure. Like, we mentioned the refs. Like, the free throws killed us. Like, a lot of ticky-tack fouls. That was not a goaltend. But you can't blame the refs. Charlie, our fearless leader, is going through it. All right. He's got the flu. So he was supposed to be on tonight's show. And he just said, if UC loses to Arizona, this has the potential to be a disaster. You had to win this game. Had to. I know you don't agree. I'm close to agreeing with that.
I just don't agree. That's not how I look at sports. But you guys are right, though. At the same time, it's like, think of last year. We won at BYU, and like, it was the most shocking win. Like, we beat Illinois a couple years before that when we shouldn't have. They had Coleman Hawkins, and Kofi Coburn, and that wasn't shocking because that was so early in the season. We didn't really know if we were good or not. And after that, we're like, wow, we're good. And then we sucked. This is like different. That BYU game last year shocked us. Like, I could not believe we won that game and won it comfortably. And then we came home to Texas, and what happened? Loss. And then we went at Baylor. Close loss. My thing is that you can lose this road game if you win the Arizona game. Do it for the fans. We're here. We're at the game. Win your home games. Get some calls. And then you have that Baylor game. Good matchup. You saw last year. We were winning that game for like 75% of it. We were in it with Kansas. I just don't want to like strongly react to this is how I'm looking at it, because I believe in the culture. these guys aren't going to fold is how I look at it, because you can just tell when teams have good culture, and Wes is seems like he's really good at it. So I hesitate to call anything a must win at this point other than that Xavier game. That was a fucking must win right there. Yeah. But it's close, it could send a big message by winning.
We'll start to wrap this thing up. You mentioned turnovers. Is that the number one thing for you that did us in tonight? What is there anything else? And turnovers and free throws. I think that's what people are going to point to who watch this game outside of Coleman Hawkins and Doug McDaniel just being able to do whatever they want. Is that it? Turnovers and free throws?
And I'm not even counting free throws. It's turnovers.
Okay.
Free throws happen. There's variance. It seems like teams make them against us a lot and we miss them a lot, but I agree with Wes a lot when he talks about free throws and pressers. I just don't care. It happens. Sometimes they make them, sometimes you miss them. The turnovers was the problem tonight. We started off careless. It gave Kansas State hope. The crowd got into it, and we never got back into it. Totally. We were real close for a lot of the game, but anytime we got back into it, turnover. And you're giving a bad team transition opportunities. It's just, to me, the turnover thing is the root problem for this team, because we are an elite half-court defense, and we are an elite offensive rebounding team. And when you turn over the ball, you take away both of those things. You can't rebound a turnover, and you're not getting set on defense because of the transition. So if I had to guess, this is when we lose games this year, it'll be because of this. But we need to get better and make it not happen as much as last season. Not a good start.
I don't even know what to say, honestly. I wear my emotions with this team on my sleeve. This is easily the number one team I follow in all of sports. Diehard Bengals fan, Reds fan my whole life, Bearcat football fan, sure. To see the Bearcat basketball team lose eats me alive. I don't think Kansas State is bad. I don't want to say they're a tournament team. But if they get it together, it sounds so cliche. If they get it together,
we might have made them get it together.
Yeah. They're good. They have the talent to get it together and be a tournament team. So this isn't that awful of a loss. It's just unfortunate that they didn't beat anybody with a pulse before us. So I don't know. It's definitely, I said this when we lost the Villanova game, this definitely tempers my expectations. I'm not out. I am out on the depth. I'm out on the depth. We're not a deep team. Are you? I said, are you worried about the role players earlier? So I don't want to ask you again. Do you think we're deep? You already said your piece on that. But we got nothing from the bench other than DayDay, and DayDay was a starter last year.
Heck, maybe a shortened rotation helps us. Before the season, I was saying we could go 10. I still think we're I don't know. I'm not ruling out that we're deep.
Okay.
But Kansas State played 6 guys tonight, basically.
And that's what Kansas is going to do, huh? At least that's what they did last year.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts? This sucks. I can't even keep talking about it.
Yeah, we'll sign off with John White, what he just said with it wasn't that we lost, how we looked. And that's sums up my concern with the game. It sounds pathetic, but I've mentally moved on and labeled it an away game loss in conference. They happen. What concerns me is what John's saying, the turnovers, the 50-50 balls all went to Kansas State. And we can complain about the refs, but we don't draw fouls. We haven't done it against scrubs. We got to get better at that stuff. You have to earn that shit. And the performance is what scares me, not the result, if that makes sense. So I agree with John on that.
You know, the good thing, we got a chance for people to forget about this game Saturday. You beat Arizona at home. I forget about this game. This isn't going to be a horrible loss on the resume, I don't think. I think Kansas State can be solid. I don't want to say they are solid. They can be. They have the talent. They're giving a player $2 million, for Christ's sakes. I mean, and he showed why tonight. He just hadn't shown why before tonight. So I think that's it for Kansas State. I'm not, say one loss to begin conference play is not enough to leap off the cliff. I get it. It's not. We'll rebound versus Arizona. I would like to believe that. I don't necessarily believe that at the moment, but I can be bought in. That's why I'm a fan. Fan is short for fanatic. I think that's it for us for Kansas State. Now, me and Lilly do the midweek show. We're probably not going to belabor this point and talk about Kansas State too much, but we'll look ahead to Arizona. I don't know when we're going to record that, so I don't want to say anything, on air. But we're going to have some fun with the midweek show this week since it's the end of 2024. Maybe a little 2024 superlatives. Best moment, best player, best game, that sort of stuff. I love those hypotheticals and kind of banter. So we'll probably do that on this week's midweek show. And then, of course, we'll look ahead to Arizona. Huge bounce back opportunity. We need it because just like Villanova, tonight's going to hurt for hopefully just a few days. All right, last thoughts, Lily, before I send us off.
And unfortunately, this game won't be mentioned in the favorite parts of 2024. Maybe if we hit a full court shot there to go to OT, and it didn't happen. I'll see you tomorrow and, Saturday, guys. Let's get the dub. Bengals, too, later on in the night. Everyone be safe. Don't drink too much at the UC game. We got to pace ourselves on Saturday. 2:30 tip-off, and the Bengals kick at 8. So that's a gap there. So everybody spread out the drinks, and let's do the double, win both games.
Yeah, and everybody calm down. Me included. This is Big 12 basketball. This isn't the American. We're going to have
I'm
some
calmer than you are.
I need to tell myself that. No, we'll be all right. I definitely believe in this team. I think we'll be okay. But that's it. Big one on Saturday. We'll have the midweek show. Me and Eric Lilly, we're signing off. Go Bearcats, guys.
Great therapy session.
Yeah.